Hi, welcome to the day 7 of 10-minute wrap-up series. In this video, we will learn about pressure groups. Before starting a topic, let us go through PYQs. Pressure group politics is sometimes seen as informal phase of politics. With regards to the above, access the structure and functioning of pressure groups in India. They asked about structure and functioning in 2013. How do pressure groups influence the Indian political process? Do you agree with this view that informal pressure groups have emerged as powerful than formal pressure groups in recent years? They asked about pressure groups influence the Indian political process. This was asked in 2017. Pressure groups plays a vital role in influencing the public policy making. The same question, influence the Indian political process. Here they asked influencing the public policy making in India. And they asked the specific question, that is business associations contribute to the public policy making. In this year, that is mains 2025, there was a question on environmental pressure groups. This was also specific question about pressure groups. They asked here business associations. In 2025, they asked environmental pressure groups. Discuss their role in raising awareness, influencing the policies, and advocating for environmental protection in India. This was asked for 15 marks. Again, the same thing. How they influence the policies, how they influence the policy making. Now, you can identify the pattern. The question on pressure group was asked in 2013, 2017, 2021, and 2025. There is exactly 3 years gap between them. 2013, after that 2017, and 2021 and 2025. There is a pattern that UPSC asks the question on pressure group after every 3 years. Now we'll see what all we need to remember to write an answer on the pressure groups. In the introduction, you can start with pressure groups are silent engines of participatory governance. They translate public anxieties into policy action. I repeat, pressure groups are silent engines of participatory governance. They translate public anxieties into policy action. Now we'll see what are the features of pressure groups. They are non-electoral in nature. They do not contest in elections, and they do not have the aim to form a government. They are interest oriented. They represent a specific interest. They influence the policy. This is the core feature of pressure group. That is, they influence the policy making. They use the pervasive methods like lobbying, public protests, and media campaigning. They are flexible and issue based. That is, they form and dissolve for a particular issue, and they act as democratic enhancers. That is, they amplify the public voices. Now let us see what is the role of pressure groups in democracy. As I said before, policy influence is a core feature of pressure group, and they set an agenda. For example, farmer protest of 2020, where Bharatiya Kisan Union played an important role in influencing the government to repeal the farm laws. They represented diverse interests. For example, All Indian Trade Union Congress represented labor rights. They provide public awareness and mass mobilization. For example, India Against campaign in 2011 has played an important role in getting a Lokpal and Lokayukt Act get passed, and they act as a check on executive power. For example, People Union for Civil Liberties raises concern about misuse of UAPA, that is Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Next point is judicial and legal activism. They use the PIL, that is public interest litigation. For example, Center for Public Interest Litigation is a major petitioner for the major cases like 2G spectrum case and electoral reforms case. The next role played by pressure group is they deepen the democracy and civic engagement. For example, National Campaign on People Right to Information played an important role in passing the RTI Act 2005. Now let us see what is the performance of pressure groups and the challenges therein. First one is policy advocacy. The positive role played by pressure groups are they influence the legislation. For example, Forest Rights Act, RTI Act, and Lokpal Bill. And they also provide policy inputs. For example, FICCI, that is Federation of Indian Chambers for Commerce and Industry, provided a policy input for GST. And the challenges in policy advocacy is They are often urban centric and lack of representation for unorganized and informal sectors. Next one is they represent the interests of various sections. They are voices for farmers, laborers, and tribals and other marginalized communities. The challenge is lack internal democracy. They lack internal democracy and act as political proxies. The next one is democratic deepening. They ensure transparency and decentralized governance. The challenge is mass mobilization have disrupted the political processes. Next point is legal activism. That is, they use the PILs as strategic tool. For example, Center for Public Interest Litigation was a major petitioner in 2G spectrum case and electoral bond case. And the challenge therein is they lead to judicial delays and executive resistance. And the last point is awareness and mobilization. That is, they mobilize the youth and urban public through campaigns on climate change, education, and they sparked the right-based discourses like LGBTQ rights. The challenge is they are short-lived and they lack policy follow-up. Now we'll see what we can write in the way forward. There is a need for internal democracy within the pressure groups and ensure transparent leadership selection, broaden grassroots engagement by extending it to rural areas, tribal areas, and other marginalized groups. And there is a need for constructive collaboration with the state and reduce political dependency. That is, avoid functioning as political proxies. And the last one is focus on sustained campaigns. That means there must be long term presence of these pressure groups for a particular issue. That means they should not be short lived campaigns. Now we'll see what we can write in the conclusion. Pressure groups do not seek power, but they shape it. They must evolve from occasional agitators to institutional partners in governance. I repeat, pressure groups do not seek power, but they shape it. They must evolve from occasional agitators to institutional partners of governance. I will give you a diagram on pressure groups which you can use in the answer to enrich your answer. You can start with pressure groups places a problem, government recognizes it, they take a consultation from the pressure groups and other stakeholders, and there is a policy formulation and implementation. And again, the pressure group identify the limitations, that is problem, and this cycle continues. Now we'll see what all we have seen in this video. I have given you the introduction and features of pressure group and role of pressure group in Indian democracy and the performance of this pressure group and the challenges needs to be addressed further and a way forward and further a conclusion. And I have given you a diagram. I will come up with the next important theme. Until then, I hereby signing off one of the unreserved mind of UPSC community. Thank you.